In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 on time for takeoff. You guys are in for a treat. So come on in, come on in. You know the drill. Drop below where you are from. We want to know where you are from as we get the party started. So we are on Thursday, and y'all better get ready. We got the master coach, LaKendra, in the house. And when I first saw her in the green room, I said, boo, look at you coming to slay all day, every day. And she is ready to drop some absolute gems and nuggets for all of us as we talk about self-care. So here's the deal. My name is Dr. Kenneth Thigpen, also known as Dr. K. I am the founder and CEO of Rise Women's Network, as well as the brand Dr. K, where I help employees change their mental well-being. We also have, of course, the host of the hour, Miss Janetta, in the house. And I just want to take a quick moment to read a little bit about Miss Janetta. So we have Miss Janetta Collier, who is the Mindset Transformation and Business Strategist, Certified Master NLP Life Coach, a speaker, philanthropist, a published author, a real estate expert, as well as a real estate advisor and consultant, a community advocate, a creative and executive producer, and a host of her very own radio and podcast show, The Best You 365. So give it up for my girl, Janetta.
Okay.
Next, we have here with us, let me get this over to the other screen. Like I said, the master coach, LaKendra Smalley, is the CEO and founder of the Global Institute for Coaches and Entrepreneurs. She has over 15 years of experience in helping companies and organizations to run heart-centered businesses, increase in productivity, production, and profit. Show us the money. She has her own private practice where she is a recognized authority on the psychology of living your best life, which she describes it as magnified YOLO. Your best life is not defined by self-fulfilling prophecies, experiences, or social norms. Your best life is all about making your life more important and prominent. Master Coach LaKendra helps her clients and students to create a shift in mindset that allows them to get heart-centered to live the life they want to lead. Master Coach LaKendra says, it's not how you finish, but when you finish. It's the character you develop while in the race. It's when you will see just how brave, strong, and resilient you really are. It's not solely about the finish, it's about your start. And every second of every decision you will be faced with that will mold you into a champion during the race. So when you do finish, the place doesn't matter because you would have defeated every obstacle that stood in your way. This is what Magnify in YOLO is all about. And so what I want you to do is I want you to like, I want you to share, I want you to heart it up because Master Coach LaKendra is ready to bring the heat. Janetta, I'm going to turn it over to you, Miss Beautiful Host, and get the party started.
Hello, hello, hello. I tell you what, we are in for a treat today. I am just really super duper excited. Did I say super duper? I am super duper
I say super duper, totally cool, awesomely excited.
I am so excited because this week has been a week of healing. Do you hear me? We have done some healing this week. And if you hadn't been healed this week, you need to check your pulse because something's wrong because we had the relationship coach on, we had the finance coach on, we had the behavior health and domestic violence coach on. Today we have self-care and self-love because guys, we've been shut in, we've been isolating ourselves, we have been thinking negative thoughts, we have been just really not taking care of ourselves like we should, okay? Well, some of us haven't. I'm gonna always take care of myself, but some of us haven't been taking care of ourselves like we should. So I am just honored that you decided LaKendra to come on here and grace us with your presence. First, I'm going to ask you to take your mute off your phone because you have your mute on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. So then I'm going to ask you this question. When I asked you to come on and be a part of this platform, the Rise of the Phoenix Summit 1, give me your thought process on that. What did you think?
Well, I was excited. I was excited because I knew where you were going with it. And my heart is always centered with helping others to feel great about themselves, helping others to understand that, you know, they're not alone. You know, you have other people who want to rally with you through whatever, you know, the difficult times that you're going through. So I was excited about that. And then that name, when you gave me the name, I was like, yes, like I want to be a part of that, because, you know the story about the Phoenix and how inspiring it is to teach us how to rise above, you know, difficult times that we're experiencing in our life. So I appreciate it. I was very appreciative.
Well, I'm so happy that you decided to be a part of this. So how this is going to work, I know Dr. K told us all, but if you have any questions, drop them down in there because we're going to ask LaKendra some questions. Master Coach. She's a master coach. So we're going to ask Master Coach LaKendra, yes, Master Coach LaKendra some questions. We're going to chime in once in a while. We're going to keep this party going. We're going to keep it everything flowing. So if you, like I said, if you have any questions, drop them in the question box. We'll take a break and ask the questions. Hit share, 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 because we're going to be doing some serious healing today. We're going to do some serious healing today. So we need to share this so we can get the message out. So LaKendra, I want you to really, I don't need to tell you this, but I want you to really dig down and pour some powerful stuff into us. Make us say hallelujah when you finish, okay? Because I want to feel, I want to feel the vibration. I want to feel the love. I want to feel the healing that's going to take place tonight. So I'm going to give it to you. So take it away.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you, Master Coach Janetta. That's what we call you in our industry. And thank you, Dr. K, for just, you know, building such a beautiful platform of the heart. I am a heart-centered business. I'm a love-driven action coach. And so we're going to be talking today about self-care. And typically when we hear self-care, you know, it's like, go out and practice self-care. And we're thinking, oh, I need to meditate, and I need to go get a massage, and, you know, I need to pull out my stones and my sage, and, you know, but after we do all of that, tomorrow is still stressful. We still have those limited beliefs. We still have those fears, and we're wondering why, because we're self-caring. So when you asked me to talk about self-care, I knew that I was going to have to go deep today because I was given the privilege and the honor to. So I want to just start with the definition. So the self-care definition, if you looked it up, it says it's the practice of taking action to improve one's health. But the flip side of that is it's the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being. And that's the part we miss. It's the active role that you have to play in the self-care. So it's not about the surface level. You know, we're so used to the smoke and mirrors. We're so used to wearing the mask. You know, if I go in and buy me a $500 shirt, you know, spend $2,500 on some hair and my eyelashes, and, you know, maybe my car, if I go in and invest in my car, that's gonna make me feel good. But see, that's all surface level care. When you truly wanna connect with improving your well-being, you got to get down to your core. So as a master coach and as a study of psychology, that's what I went to school for, sociology, psychology, and being a behaviorist over 15 years, helping those with mental illness, and I'm talking about severe mental illness, and helping them to regain their own recovery of the heart. You have to really look at the 7 dimensions. So there's 7 dimensions of wellness that you have to put into an action plan. And you have to understand where you're depleted, where you feel bankrupted. So we're talking about emotional, intellectual, physical, environmental, social, spiritual, and occupational. And we really not taught that, especially not in the Black community. So as a coach and as a Black female entrepreneur, I'm always educating our youth, our mothers, our fathers, in inner city, those who are underserved and undervalued, so they can truly learn self-care, so we can also deposit it into our kids, because our kids are our future. And when you're looking at those 7 dimensions, you have to rate them from 0 to 10, right? And anything that's underneath 5, you need some help. And if you don't understand what type of help that is, because most of us are depleted in our spiritual and our emotional dimension of wellness. And that's where it taps into, like the childhood trauma. It's so much deeper. Self-care is so much deeper. And if you don't learn to, 1, seek help, 2, understand the awareness that it exists, and 3, wanting to take action, deep action, then we will always have a high level of stress, a high level of anxiety. We're going to always be on our antidepressants. We're going to always be in fear of moving forward. And so I have built my whole practice from the Institute of Certifying Life Coaches to my private practice of truly teaching the development of self-love and self-care, because it's really all the same thing. You can't self-care if you're not self-loving, and so we're getting into values, our core values, and those things that we truly believe in, our faith. And because we're consumed with limited beliefs and self-fulfilling prophecies. We're consumed with what my husband wants me, how he wants me to be, how my children, how they're taken from me, how my job is taken from me, how society is saying what I should look like, how I should present myself. All of those things add into our psyche, and we're always depleted. We're never really reaching our fullest potential of care. And I don't care how beautiful you are. I coach some of the most beautiful women in the world. I coach some of the most handsome men in the world, 6-figure, 7-figure. We all suffer. So self-care to me is truly getting into the core of the 7 dimensions. And once again, I want you to write them down, because a coach is not a good coach if they don't give you homework. So let's do some work. The first dimension I want you to write down.
Wait a minute. Say that again. A coach is not a good coach unless they give you homework.
Yeah.
Hey.
You're not a good coach if you don't give you homework. So let's work. We're going to work a little. How long I got? We're going to do a little work, okay? I got some activities for us to do, because it's important for us to exercise the brain. We have to wake the brain up so the brain can anchor to the heart and the heart can anchor to the soul. That's how it works. So the first dimension I want you to write down is emotional, rated from 0 to 10, 0 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. Where are you at with your emotional needs? Are you really dealing with your past trauma? Are you really dealing with the difficulties that you're having about just embracing yourself as a man, as a woman? Are you truly feeling yourself, feeling all your features, all of your insecurities, even though, because they can exist and you still embrace them because you know that you're working on them. So rate yourself there. Emotional. Intellectual is like right now, how are you, in seeking, higher education, working on personal and professional development, your mental state of conversating with other people. Introverted, I hate that word, because what introverted tells you is that you are incapable of being in a social environment and utilizing your intellect. So you seclude yourself and you lock yourself in the house, or if you go to a social environment, you're going to be the person that stand in the corner. You're the person who's going to want your voice to be heard. And so it's not that you're an introvert, it's that you need to value your intelligence. You need to value your intellectual conversation because you have it. You're beautiful. You have a beautiful voice. A lot of people who are introverts are people who don't really like the sound of their voice. So it's really falling in love. It's all centered around self-love still. It's falling in love with that. So write intellectual down, rate it from 0 to 10. Physical, boom, it kills us every time, you know. I'm too fat. I don't got a six pack. I ain't lean. I'm not this. I'm not that. Where are you with your physical being? Do you love yourself? Because you can still be fat. Because child, I gained, 40 pounds from last year to now. So you can still be, a little bit, plump on the left side, on the right side, but you're still embracing yourself because you know you can take action and you can do something about it. So rate yourself from 0 to 10 there. Environmental is a very important one because sometimes we can have ourselves together, but we wonder, like when we drive into our neighborhood, why do our emotions, our spirit, our energy just kind of go down? Because it could be, maybe you need to shift some things around in your house, in your apartment. Maybe it's your color scheme. Maybe your color scheme is too dark. Maybe you need to bring more light in. Environmental is really, really big. It's looking at where you are residing, your community, and how you are operating inside of your own space. Is your space filled with peace? How are you bringing in peace into your house? In my apartment right now, I have elements of nature here. So I have cotton. Cotton always helped me to remember where I come from, remember my heritage, and honoring that I need to be a better person. I don't need to have a slave mentality because my ancestors have already experienced that. So cotton make me remember that. I have rocks in my sink. So when water flow into my sink, I can remember, what it feels like to just sit next to a pond and hear water flowing. So all of those things, plants in your home, things of that nature that helps you to connect with your inner peace. So, right, 0 to 10, where are you with that? Social is another big thing. It kind of connects with intellectual, because if you feel that you are not smart enough or you're not good enough, or you can't go and hang out with this crowd, you're not going to be very social. But social is needed because we are spiritual and energetic beings. And if you're not sharing your energy with anybody, that means that you have now isolated yourself from growing. So your energy needs to connect with other people in order for you to even feel like a fulfillment. So where are you with your social life? Do you have friends? Do you go out? Is it all about business? Typically people who life is driven around business is because they have poor relationships. It should be a balance of business and relationships. Female, male, whatever, like I have a dog. So that was my next level of relationship, because I'm pretty sociable, but then it was like connecting even deeper. So I inherited my dog from when my mom died. And that relationship that I have built with this little fluffy dog, it has like taken me to a whole dimension of appreciation of just life, because everybody communicate differently. And dealing with my dog every day, when he needs to go outside, it's a deep stare. When he wants my companionship, it's sitting next to me wanting to get in my lap. So what that taught me was, LaKendra, everybody communicate their needs differently. And so we have to be open to those type of things. So how are you socially? Spiritual is the next thing, rated from 0 to 10. Spiritual is just what it is. You say that you're faithful. You say that you believe in whatever you believe in. However, your actions of how you live your life is totally opposite. So what happens to that? It confuses the heart, but the heart is always going to serve you. Even in confusion, it's not going to battle with the brain. It's not going to battle with the soul. The heart is your ride or die. So if you are in conflict with truly what you believe in, then you got to take some time to find your own belief. And it's okay if it's different from your heritage. It's okay. I remember when I first, because I grew up Baptist, and so I believe in God, that's my belief. However, I had some conflict there, 19, before, when I went off to college. And so I started to find my own relationship with God, which led me into being mentored by a monk. I tell that story a lot. So I met a monk, and he mentored me, and I got into meditation and truly what meditation meant. And the first thing my grandmother said was, "No, that's devil worshiping stuff. LaKendra, what are you doing? That's not how I raised you." And but it felt good, and it helped me to really get in alignment with how I wanted to treat myself so I can better treat other people. So it's not about what mama think you need or daddy think you need, or your spouse or whomever. It's about what you need. Because at the end of the day, if your principles are in alignment with your core values, if you're practicing empathy, love, compassion, kindness, that type of thing, that's all that matters, is how we treat ourselves so we can treat other people. So rate that and be real with it, because spiritual is a big thing. And the last one is occupational, and it's one of the biggest things because we hate our jobs. We're in a job because we're making the money, but I still feel empty. I still feel like there's so much more that I need. And because I started my whole entrepreneur career in nonprofit, I started a nonprofit first, so I have a different mindset because I came into this whole arena of serving. So it was like, but I ain't making no money. And then after that, it was like, oh, okay, there's a balance between the two. So now I have my nonprofit and my for-profit, and I've married them together so I can truly still serve and be fulfilled and make money so I can continue to serve, to take care of my needs. But some of us were so unwilling to even do that part, even though we have a desire to, because we're feeling that I'm gonna miss a big chunk of money if I give myself a little bit more. But sometimes that's what's needed, and you have to put your own definition of what money means to you. Because hell, how much money can you really make where you can really be effective and use it? You have people sitting on right now, the world is in so much trauma and so much pain, and everybody is hurting. But just think, if every millionaire and billionaire gave some of their money that's just sitting there to the needy, the people who are lost their jobs, companies who have found bankruptcy and they can never go back to their jobs once the world opened up. Just think how enriched and how beautiful that would be. So how much money do you really want to make? That's what you got to think about. So when we're talking about self-care, we're talking about the soul, what the soul wants in order for you to continue to live your life. Because what happens when we stop giving the soul what it wants? Because the soul anchors to the heart. And so when the soul is tired, then it says, what's the purpose of us being here, right? If you really want to go deep with it, because I think that's what Master Coach Janetta said to do. And I'm very transparent. I'm very authentic in how I teach. I teach like this. I coach like this. This is just what it is, because it really took me 13, 14 years to get to this space in my life where I just said, I don't care about what goes on the outside. I have to worry about my inside, because how I feel about myself is how I'm going to treat every individual that I come in contact to. And if I say that I am a woman of God, I'm a woman of virtue, I'm a woman of compassion and love, and I mistreat you because of an insecurity that I have, then I'm none of those things. Truly. So that's where we are. I'm going to pause for a minute, allow them to jump in real quick. And before I go on to the next phase, do we have any questions? Do we have any questions yet?
First, I want to say, see, I already know you, so I'm gonna hold back because I already know where this is going. I already know. I got my my water here because I know where this is going. Dr. K, do you have any questions? Can you hear me, Dr. K? I think you froze up. So while are you waiting? So if people can still hear me, put a 1 in the chat, put a 1 in the chat. Also, if you have any questions, just put them down there. We'll read off some questions to Master Coach LaKendra. Dr. K, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. So, LaKendra, you was saying earlier that all of these different steps leads to virtually to the heart, because the heart leads to the soul. So the mind hits the heart and the heart hits the soul. So all of this is in line with our self-care, our self-love of ourselves. It's not the external things, it's the inner things that we align ourselves with in order to know that we're having self-love and self-care.
Yes.
Am I understanding this correctly?
You got it. That's it.
Okay. So what would you say to, before you go into your next phase, what would you say to the person that have constantly been beat down? And I'm not saying physical abuse, I'm not saying mental abuse, but I'm saying constantly being beat down, because, as we get society, it doesn't have to be anyone we know. Society will beat a person down if you're not secure with who you are, because society have this image of what beauty is. Society have this image of how we should act, look, talk, walk, how our body should look, how we should dress. Man, they got it down so packed that if you wear winter clothes during the summer, you're looking crazy. Okay, so then here's my question. Who made that up? Who made that up? Who said one person could decide on who looks crazy and who don't look crazy?
But the thing is, ladies, what happens is, as individuals, we allow people to give us these labels and we accept them and attach them to ourselves. And it has to get to a point where we don't accept them and we don't attach them to ourselves. And I think exactly what Master Coach LaKendra is talking about, when you start going through these 7 dimensions to really be honest and truthful with yourself, to see where you are and evaluate, then I'm sure she's going to give us some nuggets of how do we really get through that process of untaching those labels that we have accepted.
Yeah, definitely. It's a code. It's really about coding, right? So when you're getting into almost like a computer, like a programming system, we download these apps. The app says that it will work this way, and then you're trying to change a font or something like that, and you send that message. You go back to Google Play, or iPhone folks, wherever you go, you go and you say, hey, this feature isn't working. And then the programmer comes back and say, oh, it's something off in the coding, we'll fix it. It's the same thing with us, our coding. And it's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing wrong being born into our society and given a framework, because you have to be given a framework so you can even function. But then something has to happen where you're feeling disconnected. You're feeling disconnected with your life. The coding is totally off. It's not working for you anymore. And that's when we have to take responsibility. But we're not taught to take responsibility because that's not, the culture that we were raised in, from me being, right. So I was raised by a mother that was clinically diagnosed with depression and bipolar disorder. And so self-care and self-love is huge for me. I never forget when my mom sat and I asked her, this is after some time she had to go and spend a little time in the mental hospital. And so when she got out, she said, LaKendra, it's not that I'm unaware of what's going on. It's the definition that I keep playing in my head that I'm diagnosed with this. So what I have to do is I have to change the definition. I have to change the definition of depression. I have to change the definition of bipolar disorder where it could fit me. Because as I sat in that hospital and I dealt with the other patients, she said, hell, I was helping the nurses because I was not those people. But reading the definition, because they give it to you, this is what you're diagnosed with and this is the definition. I started believing that, but that's not really what's going on with me. So it was like instantly I understood that the definition that we give ourselves is a definition we will become. That's coding. So you can code and you can decode at any time by simply surrendering the norm and just tapping into, who you are. People say I'm weird all the time because this is how I talk. This is how I speak. And, people, who are not in tune.
So Dr.
Okay, people who are not in tune will get stuck in societal coding. And I'm not going to say it's a right or wrong thing. The world has been like this. I'm 45 years old. The world has been like this since I have existed. So at some point, like everybody that's on this live, I don't know how many people are on, but everybody that's on this live, you have the power. You have the power to change whatever direction that your life is in. And it sounds so cliche, but it's very, very true. And it's not easy because you are filled with coding from when you first came out of your mother's womb up until the first time you said your first word, and the first time somebody called you ugly, or the first time someone told you no when you were trying to do something that you wanted to do, or the first time somebody said that, this is not your direction, you're not good at this, this is what you need to be doing, or the first time you were rejected because you were interested in something and that in which you were interested in wasn't interested in you. So all of those things just build up this negative coding and you become robotic. And at a very young age, at 19, I felt robotic. And I remember me crying out to my grandmother. We went to church 3 times a week. And then I just cried out to her and I was like, I don't want to go to college. I want to find who I am, because I feel that now you're going to send me off to college and I'm struggling with this God. I'm struggling with this God who's so mean. I'm like, why is God so mean? Why I can't do this, or I'm going to go to hell? So in my head, even at 19, I was already thinking, like, if I die today, I'm going to go to hell because these are all the things that I'm not doing right in my life, because it was all the coding. So my grandmother was like, baby, it's time for you to go and explore life. Like we're letting you leave the nest, and whatever you feel that you need to do while you're in college, do it. And we're going to support you because you have very strict core values in place. Just follow your core values, and anything outside of that, you develop yourself. And so at a young age, I was given the permission to find myself. And most of us are 30 and 40 and 50 years old, and we still have not given ourselves permission to find ourselves. And it's all about coding. What's going to make you feel good? And it may not make your best friend feel good. It may not make your neighbor feel good, but you're still operating in love, because if you meet me, you're going to meet love. I'm not going to judge you or anything. It's whatever you have in your life. If that's going to make you feel fuzzy in that, it's almost like when you meet somebody for the first time and they give you those butterflies. It's how it should feel when you evolve. You should feel like butterflies in your stomach every time something uniquely happens to you and you like it. That's how it should feel. If you can feel it for somebody else, why can't you feel it with yourself?
Well,
Y'all get it?
Go ahead, Dr. K.
No, I was just going to say Master Coach LaKendra is on it, because just today on Facebook, I had posted about giving yourself permission to know that, you are worthy, that it's not about breaking these glass ceilings. Like, we can just remove them. Like, you have the power and the choice to just remove them. But I think oftentimes as individuals, we don't know how powerful we are. And if we can just embrace how powerful we are and give ourselves that permission, we could change the world.
Yeah, and you know what? And when you said that, remove the glass ceiling, that's why I love the name of the business, Imaginary Glass Ceiling, because in my mind, it's imaginary. Somebody put that in your head. That glass ceiling is not there. You can move it out the way. You can go around it. You can build your own. You don't have to use that ceiling. So, but LaKendra, I know a story from you that you was diagnosed with something. And you told yourself that was a lie, and you went on and you shattered that glass ceiling. Would you share that with us?
Yeah. So when I was around 5 or 6 years old, I was diagnosed with an attention deficit disorder. We call it ADD. It's hot. I mean, it's overgeneralized now, but it's a true disorder. And I was diagnosed with it at a young age. Around that time, it wasn't really ADD at that time. It was named something else, hyperkinetic disorder or something like that. And I had to repeat a grade. So a lot of people didn't know that. I had to repeat a grade. My attention span just wasn't there. And so I really felt that it was just a chemical imbalance that I was born with, but for me to be diagnosed with it at such a young age. And it was hard for me to concentrate. It was hard for me to do a whole lot of things, but because I had a praying grandmother and I had a mother who had fought against every odd, and I mean, and won against all of her odds to say, this is not, first of all, this is not who you are. You don't even come from a family like this where you're sitting in like a la-la land, unable to concentrate, unable to think. And I've always been challenged. So, you know, I had a tutor growing up. My grandmother worked for Texas Instruments. So I had all of the speaking, learn, speaking math, all of the computerized things. I had all of that growing up. But it wasn't until I was in special education. That's the other thing. I was a 504 student, and we had to create a letter, a paper at a very young age. I could write very well. I write from emotional. That's one of my strong points. And I created this imaginary person that landed the letter into the principal's office, that landed CPS to the schools, because I had created this imaginary person that I wrote about. And I was really talking about some of my friends that were going through trying times, and I created a story around it. Well, after they found out that I wasn't being abused in my own home, I'll never forget my teacher asked my mom if she could send the journal that I wrote. She sent it somewhere. So when she sent it somewhere, it came back to the school. Hey, we need to test her. You know, she really sounds like she's gifted and talented. So they tested me from gifted and talented, and that's exactly what I was. I was gifted and talented. So just imagine the diagnosis and my mother and my grandmother, because I was raised by my mother and my grandmother. If they wasn't feeding into the diagnosis, they did not feed into the diagnosis. They were saying, listen, LaKendra, we got to get this together. This is not who you are. This is not the type of family you come from. And so this is not going to be your future. But because I had that push, and then finally society accepted me, because that's really what happened. Society accepted me as, oh, you know, she's really gifted and talented. And then I began to be challenged intellectually and academically is when I excelled. And around middle school is when I got it. Because for a little while I did take medication. You know, I just remember so vividly back then, and how I truly disconnected, and even working with kids now with ADD and ADHD and just watching the whole phenomena. But the difference is that the family don't want to believe that it exists. And it's really, and I hate to say it, it's really in the Black culture that we don't want to believe that mental illness truly exists. And we have to, you know, we have to confront it. We have to confront it. So that's my story. When I turned 30, I was re-diagnosed with ADHD. I have a very interactive brain. I haven't taken medication since my teenage years. I self-care. You know, I self-care. I do things that I need to do. I have a very strict regimen. Sometimes, some days I'm good, some days I'm not. But those days that I'm not, I am truly taking care of myself, you know, physically and mentally. So that's that story. It's really all about, like, it's still encoding. I had to tell myself, LaKendra, you can pay attention. You are smart. You know, you can sit and learn. I mean, I graduated in the top 5% of my class. I graduated honors in college. I have a dual master's degree. I was in my PhD program before I dropped out of it and decided to go fully in coaching. So I was sitting in my PhD program and I was watching TV and I saw John Maxwell and he was intriguing to me, and I started researching coaching. And so I just changed the trajectory of education for me and went into coaching instead of finishing the PhD program. So it's not that I was incapable, it's just how I felt and how I thought about myself, because we tell ourselves all the time what we cannot do and what we cannot become. So it's all about in your language of how you speak to yourself when nobody is listening. We speak to ourselves all day long internally. And if you're not aware of what you're truly saying to yourself, you will become it, because the brain is manipulative. I say that the brain is like a whole entity. It can either be your friend or it can be your enemy. And so what I had to learn how to do is feed my heart to my brain so my brain can work for me and not against me. Because if you feed it negative thoughts, then it's going to find the energy, right? The sound waves. That's why television is so influential in our kids' lives. Radio, music, all that sound wave stuff, the brain functions with it based off of what you feel. So you have to be so aware of that. And when I'm coaching my clients, it's all about awareness, truly where your feelings is. You don't have to come over here and lie to me. I'm here to help you, right? And so if you're going to stay in that mindset where you're still lying to yourself, I can't take your money. I'm not going to be any justice for you. So we're back to coding and decoding. Back to it. You can't escape it.
And another thing that I know that you do for your self-care is you're holistic. I'm holistic, but you're really holistic.
Yeah.
And I mean, I believe she has herbs in her backyard. She goes out, grows them, and crunches them up.
I ain't mad at it.
I have to, because I'm not medicated. I'm not against medicine, but I'm against medicine. And so, it's very important that I know that I put in my body. So my herbalist, shout out to Carrie Ann McCullough. She's my herbalist. She harvests all of my herbs. She's Jamaican, and any type of herb I need, from blood pressure to my ADHD, me just learning how to calm myself and just be in tune with myself. She harvests all of those herbs. She's really great. I'll put her Goodencorp.com is her website. So if you want to get into herbs and you want authentic herbs, because everybody's just not even authentic anymore. It kills me. It drives me crazy. So she's a great herbalist, and yeah, I'm very, very herbal. I don't take any type of medicine.
Yeah, LaKendra is good for telling me, you can't sleep, girl. You need some of my herb tea.
Yeah, you need.
Like, I'll mix you something right on up.
Take your batch. Between her and my son, they'll make a batch of herb tea in a minute. So, LaKendra, so, with the self-care and the self-love that you do for yourself, and you also pour it out to other people. That's what I love about you. You're so authentic. You're so authentic, and you're so transparent, because I think transparent people see other transparent people. And when we align ourselves with people like us.
Yeah.
Okay, because we're giving love. And I know for me, I'm so love driven that I could hurt myself. If I surround myself with people who want to hurt me, they could easily hurt me because I'm so love driven. Yeah. So I try to, I guess people that's like me attach themselves to me, because I think we're all just one big circles with our backs against each other, like be ready to fight against people who try to come into the circle to hurt each other. So I really love that about you, that you're love-centered and you believe in sharing your knowledge in self-care and self-love. What would you say to someone who really don't know how to navigate this self-love and self-care? You may be speaking in Spanish or in Latin to a lot of people who don't understand this ideology, the theory of self-love and self-care. What would you say to them?
It's universal language. If any human being is listening to me right now, they've connected, because what we all are, men and women, we share the same emotions. We know when we are disconnected from a peace. We know when we're disconnected from a happiness. But because we have lived such a long life of just being complacent and staying in that type of energy, what we don't know how to do is like overcome it. So what I'm saying now is all you got to do is just ask for help. At some point in your life, you have to just stop. You have to decide. And I'm gonna give you something so profound to help you make the decision today. If today was your last day on earth, to truly connect with healing yourself from whatever past pain you're carrying, whatever hurt, and if it's even something that you've done to cause pain or hurt to somebody else, if this was your last day, and I said that if your faith is a heaven or a hell, and if you got taken out today, whatever guilt and pain that you carry is going to take you to the bottom, would you change? Would you finally sit down and say, God, if you grant me just another day, I promise you, I will take control. I will seek help, because that's the difference. It's the awareness of just accepting that I need help. And I can't continue on with my life. I can't continue on, dressing myself up every day, even though I'm making great money and I'm living in a big, beautiful house and I drive the best cars. But when I make it home, I abuse my wife, I abuse my kids, I abuse my husband, I abuse my kids, I abuse myself, because I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drug addict, I'm a womanizer, I'm a gold digger, I'm a whatever. So I speak a very universal language. That's why I love what I do. But when you sit before me, you just have to decide whether or not you want to release the judgment of me, you saying, are you worthy, or are you better to even educate me and help me through this journey? Because most of the time we allow our influencers are people we cannot ever connect with, they're
Okay.
big.
Say that again. Say that again.
The people who we won't help with, we can never connect with them. We'll never be able to connect with them. You're not going to be able to sit down with Oprah. You're not going to be able to sit down with Tony Robbins, and unless you got millions of dollars. So it's you opening up that this right here, and knowing that you have people right there in your face and right there in your communities that are capable of helping you to get to your next level. And you have to get out of your vainness. We're so vain nowadays. Like, oh, I can't go over and support her. I ain't seen her on enough stages. Well, hell, I'm not a stage type of person, so you're not gonna see me on the stage. So it's really just all about, are you willing to just surrender and trust? Are you willing to be vulnerable? And we don't like being vulnerable. And I'm speaking to you this way because I was that person once. Yeah. To meet a monk who was willing to pour into me, and I'm looking at a bald man wrapped up in a brown, like really how they look. He was a monk. And I'm like, I don't know about this. But I had to surrender to my ignorance to be open to learning something so beautiful and extraordinary about myself. And that is, I am really made from love. God is love. He's not anything opposite of that. He is just love. And when you can tap into the love that you have for yourself, then life looks more beautiful. So you looking at the world and it's chaotic and it's, all of this black on black crime and police killing black folks and, folks committing suicide. And I'm looking at it, yeah, I see that too, but it's so much more beauty in the world. And even though we have all of this injustice going on right now, I can play a big part in that, because I can help people feel better about themselves. So that's just kind of like where we are with it. I speak universal language. I'm not an alien. I'm not from Mars. I'm really from Earth.
I feel you on this, because I feel like we are love. Mm-hmm. I feel like what we have, if everyone would just give love to people, mm-hmm. we may not stomp out everything negative, but we sure could make a bin in it.
Mhm.
But we are so
Yeah.
afraid to give of ourselves because we're afraid that people are going to find something about us that we
Yeah.
didn't want to share.
Mhm.
And and it's a disease to me. It's
It
a
is.
disease that you don't want to share love and help someone else.
It is.
I just find it a disease. But
So, Master
Doc-
Coach, I want to do a quick exercise. So
okay,
for everybody that's on, we went through the 7 dimensions, right? So we went through the 7 dimensions. I told everybody to rate it. So hopefully you rated your 7 dimensions from 0 to 10. And once again, they were emotional, intellectual, physical, environmental, social, spiritual, and occupational. Everything that you rated below a 5, if you don't mind participating, everything that you rated below a 5, I want you to think of a word, think of a action word that you're not putting into action. So for example, underneath emotional, your action word will be like healing my past trauma, healing or embracing a past situation, or learning to love myself. A word that is going to help you connect with the action. I want you to write that out, put it in the feed, and what we're going to do is, so I have my this is my bowl. So I'm not a real baker, so I don't bake cakes and pies, but I'm always making these imaginary cakes and cupcakes. And I'm going to take all that. So as you're putting this stuff in the feed, I'm just going to be putting it in my bowl, because the brain is so, you got to learn. This is what I learned from the monk. He said, LaKendra, whatever you want to dismiss in your life, you got to put it into action, because the brain has to connect with it energetically, right? Because we're always talking about frequency, like all that stuff is for real, y'all. Like, we are truly energy. So in my mind, when I put in my bowl that, I really am smart, like I really don't have a disadvantage of having ADHD. I really am beautiful. I really love who I am. I really have the ability to get me a new job and really get into a career that I want. I'm not inadequate. I'm not stuck. You're putting all this stuff in this bowl, and we're stirring it up. All of the things that we have rated ourselves so low. The reason why it's so low is because you really haven't just connected with the awareness of it, of no longer wanting to deal with it. So I want you to put it, it's the physical, I want you to put it in this bowl. I can love, even though someone took my virginity away from me when I wasn't ready, at a young age. That may be your story. And so you're so disconnected, and you think that you can't love, but you can love. You may have gone through an abusive time in your life, and you feel that you're not safe, and you can't be in a loving relationship because you don't trust anymore, but you really can, and so it's connected with, it's you connecting with it. It could be that maybe you were the person who always give, and you always are connected with people that are constantly taking from you, so you feel that your value isn't there because you're always giving, but yet no one is ever giving you anything back in return. It could be that it was a time that you were homeless, and so you have a low value of security, and you don't know how to give yourself that worth. You feel like you're just not good enough because there was a time where you lost everything and nobody was there for you. But what y'all are forgetting is, in all of that, like all of that past stuff. So if I was to pour all of that into a pan and bake it, I could bake that in the oven, and when I take it out the oven, it's gonna fall flat, because what it's missing is everything that you are right now. So everything that you are right now is resilient. That's like the key word. Like, you have truly mastered all of that pain, and you're not giving yourself the power of resiliency. Just how beautiful that is, that you no longer even live in that space anymore. You have really surpassed it to this time. So if I added resiliency to that cake, it will begin to rise a little bit more. And if I added, some other things that you've overcome, it could be forgiveness. Maybe you have really exercised forgiveness, but the person you haven't forgiven is yourself. Because the thing about it is, it's always easy for us to forgive people who have hurt us. Think about it. We do it all the time because you know why? The brain ain't that intelligent where it can really hold on that long. So before you even know it, they'd be like, you talking to them again? You're like, damn, I'm supposed to still be mad at them, right? Oh, I'm mad at them again. And we do ignorant stuff like that, but it's because you haven't forgiven yourself. So you think about like what you want me to stir up in this bowl. You might as well confess it now, because I already gave you a time limit. I said today is the last day. Today is the last day where you got to get it together. You got to get it together. So what you want me to stir up for you so we can bake this beautiful cake. And right. And then, maybe we can gift it. Let's gift it to charity. Let's give it away. We're not going to throw it in the trash because we're not trash. Our past isn't trash. Our past is what has brought us to who we are today. And who we are today are beautiful people. So we're going to do something special with this cake. And so, yeah, y'all put that all in the feed. Let's do something with it.
You better say so, honey. They weren't ready for all of that, Master Coach.
I don't think so, because I'm
not ready for it either.
Yeah, I don't think so. Dr. K, take it.
Oh, you ready to close us out already?
No, so I have some questions here.
Okay.
So my phone is freezing up on me. Let me see here. So one question is, how do you give yourself, you speak about giving yourself permission. How do you give yourself permission?
It has to be tangible. So I'm gonna give you an exercise. Everything I do is tangible when I'm coaching my clients. Sit down and write you a permission letter. Remember when we were younger, and in order for you to go to the zoo with the school, to the museum, the teacher gave you what? They gave you a permission letter. They said, take this home. A lot of us, let me tell you why this go over our head, because a lot of us used to forge that letter anyway. We didn't even used to take it home, child. We used to forge that letter and give it right on back to the teacher. So if you was forging letters back then, you can forge a letter right now. Sit down and write out your permission letter. That's how you do it. Because there's no right or wrong way. See, I can give you all of the advice because a real life coach really don't even give you advice. I'm going to help you to facilitate. How do you feel you need to give yourself permission? How do you feel you need to exercise your voice? Because remember, you got the same power I have. I'm not better than you. My journey just started a little bit earlier than yours. So I can guide you. I can guide you into some things that I do. And what I am going to tell you is, everything you have to do, you got to release it from here. So you can't think about it anymore, because thinking about it is what brought you to where you are now. And so you have all of this stuff. It's just, it's bombarded in your head and you can't compartmentalize. Like we have all of the 4 quadrants of the brain, which helps us to process things. And sometimes we just hold up so much in our brain that things that's supposed to be on this side of the brain is on this side of the brain. And things on this side of the brain is on this side of the brain. And we need to bring everything to the frontal cortex of the brain. So exercise your power. That's how you give yourself permission. It's starting, and it's very, very, very uncomfortable. If it's not uncomfortable, then it ain't what you need to be doing. It needs to be so uncomfortable that you're shaking, your hands are shaking, your palms are sweaty, you feel like you have anxiety, and you still push yourself through it. And sometimes you need help. Sometimes you can't do it alone. Sometimes you got to seek a coach. You need to hire a coach, or you need to confide in a friend, or you need to, pull out your insurance plan and see, what type of mental health services that you can connect with, a counselor, a therapist. Like, I'm for all of that stuff. I've been through all of it. So that's how you give yourself permission, is because you already know what you need to do. You don't have to really ask me, but I'm going to tell you, I give you permission to have the permission that you need.
So,
Basically.
a lot of people know that they're not taking care of themselves. They know they don't have self-love and self-care, but yet they're afraid to step out of their quote unquote norm because this is how they've been all their life. And it feels weird to them to step out and, oh my gosh, if I step out of being this person that I have created myself to be, knowing that I'm not happy, then who am I losing along the way? Who is going to not come with me? Who is going to judge me? Who is going to put me down because I want to take care of myself and I want to be loved and happy? So it's just like, I mean, it's so much pain and there that I can see happening to people because I know people to this day that's not happy with who they are. But yet they sit in that because they're familiar with that. And a lot of people rather be familiar with the unhappiness than to pursue happiness.
Yeah.
Somebody better say something up in here. Come on.
You spoke on it. It's easy to just live in what I know, right? But when you're talking about an opportunity, I'm getting ready to give everybody a promotion, okay? I'm giving you a promotion into going to your next level. Like, go into your next level. You don't even have to fill out the application for it. You don't have to have any type of degrees or any of that. All you need to have is just your heart. I just need for your heart to be beating. And if you're on this live right now, your heart is beating, or you wouldn't be on this live. So I'm gonna give you a promotion to move to your next level, which means that in order for you to move up, one or two things need to happen. You just take the step and don't look back. Or if it's hard for you to take that step, then you confront whatever it is that sits right here, that's keeping you. You know, maybe it's fear, maybe you haven't, maybe you need to call mama because y'all been feuding over some dumb stuff. Maybe it's your sibling, maybe, you know, whatever it is that's keeping you from going up that step, because you have put this brick on you that's keeping you so heavy, because you need to exercise your voice. It could be a voice of forgiveness. It could be a voice of saying, I'm sorry. Whatever it is that you need to do, if your leg is too heavy to move up, because some of you can just, you know what, I'm over it. Surrender, boom. And I took the step, Master Coach, right? You promoted. But those for you who's having a little bit of harder time, you got to do some work. I never forget when my mom passed away. A couple of months before she passed away, I came home because her last year of her life, I lived with her to take care of her. And I came home and she had papers all over her bed, and she was on a phone call. So when I came in her room, she was on a phone call. I went and got showered and cooked. And when I came back, she was still on the phone call. And finally I was just like, what are you doing? Like, I had to interrupt her. And she said, I'm just spending some time calling people, telling them that I love them, telling them that I'm sorry, telling them that I forgive them. I'm just having some conversations, some overdue conversations. She said, I need this burden off of me, girl. And I just laid on the bed and watched her go through that process. And I was always in awe of my mom, just of everything she had overcome. And so that's what it looks like. It looks like somebody got to step up to the plate. And so if you're wanting to grow, just let it be you. They can accept it or not. It doesn't matter. It's not for them. It's for you to move up to the next level. Because I gave you the promotion. Now you got to show up for the promotion. And that's what we don't do. We don't show up for all of this goodness that's happening in our life. We're not even able to see it because we have these blinders on. And so take the blinders off. Come get this promotion. I got you. You know, you VIP level now, CEO level. Let's do it.
Well, Lakendra, whew, Lord, my head is hurting over here. I think my blood pressure done went up.
I got some tea. I got some herbs for
You do.
She's
I
like, she'll
know
be
you
right
do.
back.
I know
I got
you do. So I tell you what, let me wipe the little tears out the corner of my eyes, because the title, The Rise of the Phoenix, man, I mean, just like boom. That's all, boom. That's all I can say. But I just hope everyone on here was able to get something out of this. And if you weren't able to get at least a nugget, you need to
Shame
check
on
your
you.
pulse,
Shame
because
on
something's going on deeper than what we can help you with.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kick it over to Dr. Connect, because I will talk you guys' ears off. So Dr. Connect, take it away.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Master Coach LaKendra, thank you. You brought the fire, you brought the heat. And as Janetta said, if you didn't take at least one nugget away, again, shame on you. Maybe you need to go back and watch the replay or something, and the second time around you might get it. But that's okay. Sometimes it takes us 2 times to go back and get it. But she, Master Coach LaKendra talked about the 7 dimensions of wellness. And so as you go throughout the rest of this week, I challenge you to take a look at those 7 different dimensions and really evaluate where you are. Maybe you went through the exercise with us. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you want to do it a little bit later when you have more time to truly sit and think about where you are at each of those levels. But I challenge you to definitely take some time to do that this week. The Imaginary Glass Ceiling has presented to you today the rise of the Phoenix, and we're not done yet. There is still more. So tomorrow we will be back again, same time, same place. And Janetta, do you want to tell them who's joining us tomorrow?
I'm gonna let you do that, because I would talk too long about the next guest. So I'm gonna let you do that.
Our next guest on tomorrow, Friday, Faithful Friday's coming, y'all, and we have a banging guest. So we're gonna have Robert Collier himself. He is the CEO and founder of the Entrepreneur's Dinner, and he's also a performance coach. So he's gonna be coming to us and chatting it up with us on Friday. And so come on back, same time, same place. Again, take some time to go over to imaginaryglassceiling.com to check us out for events. Also go over to the Facebook page at Imaginary Glass Ceiling, just to kind of see some more information about Master Coach LaKendra, other things that may be going on. There are going to be some surprises, so you don't want to miss it. So if you have not gone on over and liked the page, make sure you definitely do that right now. When? Right now. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure. We hope you have a fabulous night. And again, we'll see you back here tomorrow night. Take care. Love and hugs.